All right. Let's take you back now to one of our leading stories, and it is the continued reaction on the death of popular DJ, DJ Warras. Let's speak now to veteran radio DJ, and that's a former colleague of DJ Warus, Gareth Cliff. Gareth, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time. Your reaction to this gruesome murder?
Yeah, thank you, Kwali. This is tragic beyond words, and just looking at the words on your screen, you know, when you see it on the news, it makes it all very real. This is a terrible loss, and before I even begin with anything about Warus, I just want to extend my condolences to his family, his children, his mother. He used to call him his baby mamas, but I know that they're all very a tight-knit unit, and most especially to everybody who knew him and loved him as much as we did. He's a tremendous, he was a tremendous human being, such a talent, extraordinarily brave, the kind of guy who just got along with everybody, a treasure. We're all, I think, very lucky to have lived at the same time as Warus, and it's going to be a very difficult loss for us to deal with.
Yeah. The police are still hot on the heels, they say, of the suspects. They're saying they are viewing CCTV camera footage, and they have described the kind of people they are looking for. With all of that said, Gareth, what did you know about the private security that he ran? Because it does appear that it is possibly that line of work that could have gotten him murdered in this way. And there is a particular building as well that is in question here. What do you think needs to be done to clean up the CBD? Because hijacking of buildings there is almost part of this equation, if indeed what police are saying is going to ring true.
Look, only for me to speculate about what happened would be irresponsible, and I frankly don't know any more than you do. You probably know more than I do about the circumstances of this tragedy. But I will say that Warus was an extraordinarily competent guy too. He could handle almost any situation. I know that he was able to protect high-profile people. He was very involved. He knew a lot of people in and out of law enforcement. He knew a lot of people in the CBD. He certainly wasn't without resources. And for this to have happened, I can only imagine that it can't be coincidental. That said, I don't know enough to be able to come to a conclusion. And to your question about the CBD, this is something which the people of Johannesburg and all of us who've ever been into Johannesburg know it's just a gaping wound in South Africa. It really is a huge embarrassment. It's a source of massive problems. And I would just appeal to the political leadership, to law enforcement, to the police to do whatever they can to render it a safer place for all those people. Some of them, you know, who are there with their families and have to put up with this on a daily basis. I just think to have a high-profile personality like Warus involved in something like this is obviously the most awful outcome for everyone who knew him, for him most especially. But it is indicative, I suppose, of the kind of violent crime which we've become almost numb to in South Africa. And I would suggest that if this isn't a clarion call to the authorities, then I don't know what would be. You know, I hear politicians day in and day out on your channel and on your excellent show coming to justify their existence, to remind us why they take our tax money, to give us every excuse why things are not being done. And when things like this happen, and we've had a number in the last couple of years, a number of powerful entertainers, celebrities, people who are role models and influencers in society, to see them succumb to this too, I think is just a reminder to us that it could happen to anyone, that Johannesburg needs some attention, very deliberate attention from the politicians, and I'm just overwhelmed with grief at this point for the particular case of Warras.
Finally, Gareth, and perhaps the perfect way to end the conversation, you seem to know Warras and his family well. Earlier we saw pictures of his sister bravely going to identify his body while he lay on the street. They opened him up, and of course the cameras were distant enough to respect that kind of moment. But what do you think his 3 children, as I understand it, are going through right now, knowing that they are without a father?
I don't know. None of us can know. I think and pray for the children. They had a very close family relationship. He was an excellent father. He was a dutiful, kind, considerate, and very courageous human being. And we are poorer in South Africa without the like of him.
Gareth Cliff, thank you very much for your time and indeed reflections on such a tragic end to the National Day of Reconciliation.